You were born in a private wing of All India Institute of Medical Sciences. 2 months before your arrival, SPG commandos had already mapped every exit, vetted every nurse, installed encrypted communication lines in the delivery room. Your mother went into labor at 3 a.m., and within 7 minutes, the entire floor was locked down tighter than a military installation. Your father became prime minister when your mother was 5 months pregnant, which means you've had Z+ security since before you existed. The doctor who delivers you has been background checked by the Intelligence Bureau 3 separate times. Your first photograph is taken by a Press Information Bureau photographer whose image will be analyzed by 200 million people before sunset. You're 6 hours old and already trending on Twitter in 4 languages. Every political party has released a statement about your birth. You didn't choose this, but the entire nation already has an opinion about your existence. Childhood unfolds behind the gates of 7 Lok Kalyan Marg. The official residence looks elegant from the outside, almost peaceful, but it's a compound where you can't simply walk to the gate. SPG personnel rotate in 12-hour shifts. Every room has panic buttons. The house staff undergo security clearances that take months. You're 4 years old when you get your first code name. You think it's a game until you realize grown men with earpieces use it during tactical drills. These aren't bodyguards who love you. They're trained to neutralize threats. You're not their family, you're their assignment. School becomes a negotiation between your parents and reality. Option 1, at a private institution in Delhi where your presence transforms the campus into a fortress. Metal detectors installed at every gate. Teachers receive security briefings. Your classmate's birthday party at a farmhouse requires SPG advance teams to sweep the location 48 hours early. Option 2, homeschooling with tutors who've been vetted by intelligence agencies, which means you grow up watching other kids play cricket through tinted car windows. Option 3, a boarding school in the hills where the SPG rents 3 adjacent buildings and monitors every conversation within a 100-meter radius. Whichever path your parents choose, the outcome is identical. You're different. Teachers handle you carefully, like expensive china that might shatter and cause an incident. Parents see you as either a networking opportunity or a political statement. Kids either want to befriend you because of your last name, or they resent you because their parents watch news debates every night screaming about your father's policies. Your first memory of being different happens at age 7. You're at a friend's house, and you casually mention something your father said about a state election. 4 hours later, it's breaking news on 3 channels. Your friend's parents didn't mean harm. They were just excited. But that's when you learn the lesson that will define your entire existence. Every word you speak, everywhere you go, belongs to people you'll never meet. Privacy isn't something you lost. It's something you never had. At 9 years old, you start having a schedule. Not because you're academically gifted, but because your father needs someone young standing beside him during Republic Day events. Foreign dignitaries visit, and suddenly you're there. Kurta perfectly pressed, smile carefully practiced, shaking hands with people who control armies. Your friends are watching cartoons. You're learning which side of the stage to stand on so you don't block the teleprompter. Your father calls it grooming for responsibility. You call it unpaid appearances. At 12, you discover social media. Your father just announced some policy on farmers, and you thought it'd be interesting to see public reaction. 30 minutes later, you're sitting on your bathroom floor reading things about your family that make your stomach hurt. Threats, accusations, praise so excessive it feels fake. Conspiracy theories involving your mother's jewelry choices. You mention it at dinner. Your father barely looks up. Comes with the position, he says. Goes back to reading briefing notes. You haven't made a single political decision in your life. You once chose vanilla ice cream over chocolate at a family function, and somehow someone wrote an article analyzing what it meant about your personality. Adolescence offers one escape route: online gaming. It's the only space where you're not the prime minister's son. You're just another username, and nobody cares. For 2 years, your closest friend is someone from Bangalore who calls you trash at every game. He never knew who was behind the screen. It was the most honest relationship you've ever had. Your first relationship ends before it really begins. She's 15, you're 16, and within 72 hours, her family's tax records are being discussed on primetime television. Her parents' voting history is analyzed. Political opponents suggest she's a distraction planted by rival parties. The relationship doesn't end because you fought. It ends because she can't handle strangers dissecting her life for entertainment. That's when you understand. Anyone who gets close to you inherits your cage. At 17, you attend a state funeral in Delhi. You're standing while a flag is folded and handed to a widow whose husband died in a border conflict. You never met this soldier. The widow glances at you for half a second, and you don't know what that look means. Is it gratitude, resentment, expectation? Your father is still prime minister, and you're there because the family was invited and declining would become a headline. Yet you're present because absence would be analyzed more than presence. Everyone promises college will be different. You choose a university in another city, hoping distance creates freedom. The SPG detail triples. Your roommate undergoes background verification that takes 4 months. Professors either treat you like fragile glass or deliberately ignore you to prove they're not giving special treatment, which is itself special treatment. You make friends, but there's always distance. They edit themselves around you. They know a casual joke could become a screenshot. A screenshot could become a controversy. A controversy could reach their parents' employers. Real friendship requires equality, and you'll never be equal with anyone your age. You're always the prime minister's son first, yourself second. You start thinking about your future. What do you actually do with a life like this? Enter politics, and every speech gets compared to your father forever. Every policy, every statement, every hand gesture will be measured against his legacy. Join the private sector, and they'll accuse you of using the family name for corporate benefit. Start a foundation, and they'll call it image rehabilitation. Pursue music or art, and nobody will take you seriously because they'll assume you bought your way into galleries or studios. Every single path has already been interpreted by who your father is, and you can't even complain publicly without sounding privileged. After all, you had security most people will never afford, education in institutions others can't access, opportunities that don't exist for 99% of the population. At 23, the SPG asks an unexpected question. The formal cover is ending. From now on, security is optional. You can keep the detail or go without. It's the first real choice anyone has given you about your own safety. You stand there unable to answer immediately because you realize something disturbing. You don't know what it feels like to walk outside without someone covering you. You have no memory of that. You never did. You decide to try. An apartment rented under your name in a city where nobody's waiting. No agents at the door, no cameras in the stairwell. For the first time in your existence, you enter a space and there's nobody inside monitoring and nobody outside watching. You sit on the floor because furniture hasn't arrived yet, and you wait for something to happen. Nothing happens. And then you realize you don't know what to do with silence. You never learned. Since birth, someone was always within 40 meters monitoring every room. Silence was supposed to feel like freedom, but it feels more like an empty space you don't know how to fill. At 29, you meet someone who doesn't need explanations. She's a cabinet minister's daughter. She grew up sharing her father with the nation. You fall carefully, cautiously, the way you've learned to approach everything. It's the first time someone truly understands without you having to explain. And somehow that doesn't fix anything. You carry memories you'll never share. One night around age 8, still living in the official residence, you woke up thirsty and went downstairs. Your father was sitting alone in his study, head in his hands, no aides, no secretaries, just him. You'd never seen him like that. He never showed weakness to anyone. You went back upstairs without making sound. You never mentioned it. Not because it was secret, but because that image was yours alone, the only unfiltered thing you ever had of him. Maybe you'll enter politics, maybe you won't. Either way, the first line of every article about you is already written. You're the Prime Minister's son. That's the sentence that started before your first breath and has no end. You live in a country of 1.4 billion people, and somehow you're simultaneously the most visible and most invisible person in any room. Everyone knows your name. Almost nobody knows you. Your father governs the world's largest democracy. You govern nothing, not even your own narrative. Every choice you make is a headline before it's a decision. And every relationship is scrutinized before it's real. Every mistake is national news before you've learned from it. This is what it means to inherit a position you never applied for. You didn't choose your last name. You didn't choose the security detail, the scrutiny, the sacrifices that came with someone else's ambition. But you live with the consequences every single day. Some will say you're privileged, they're right. Some will say you're trapped, they're also right. Both things are true simultaneously, and that's the contradiction you'll carry forever. You are the Prime Minister's son. And in a nation of over 1 billion voices, yours might be the one nobody actually hears.